Hey guys, Dennis here with Revog Games. I'm joined by
Joshua Weyers, all the way in South Africa.
yes, and happy 2023. Even though I think we we had released our like best games, best news, most anticipated games of 2023 after the new year, but this is our that was a podcast, but this is kind of our more like regularly scheduled podcast focusing on news and what and so what.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy 2023. It's been pouring rain here in LA today. Actually,
Yeah, I've
even though
seen
it's
the
not,
videos, man.
yeah, which is weird. It's like, the one thing is like the one trade off, living here is you have really bad traffic, but you get a lot of cool, it's always sunny. So
Yeah.
then you get bad traffic and tons of rain. You're like, why? What's going on here?
Oh yeah, man. Californians, they're not used to driving in the rain either, so
No.
it's like deadlock. Just everyone's
Yeah.
crawling in their cars, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm sure you guys are grateful for the rain, you know? Always need the rain.
Yeah, but I read somewhere where we're only saving half of it, which is a shame. Like I read an article somewhere where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, only half of it's being saved, so we're like wasting half of it. It's like,
You need to set up more reservoirs and stuff.
yeah, yeah,
I was reading up about that as well, yeah.
yeah,
Like I think they said like 80% of the rainfall is obviously just being wasted and not being caught or whatever.
yeah. But anyways,
Anyways,
speaking
back to
of game,
gaming.
yeah,
Yeah.
back to gaming. Not like there's some gaming news, but it's it's obviously the beginning of the year, so things are very slow
Yeah.
on that front. But some stuff has come in. CES just happened. The Last of Us HBO series is premiering actually this Sunday, and the reviews are so. Let's get started with it. Well, first of all, let's start with there's all these like interviews with Neil Druckmann. One, he created The Last of Us, but two, he's also the co-showrunner with Craig Mazin on the actual HBO series. So he's being interviewed in a lot of these trade publications for television, and obviously they're going to ask him some questions about gaming. And I know this one is such a vague thing, but we have the show coming up, and there's also the multiplayer game, Last of Us game. They asked him about Last of Us Part 3, and he said in this short quote, I think there's more story to tell. So they
I
said they're
think
not.
there's more money to be made,
Yeah, exactly.
aka yeah.
More money to be made, and also, let's say this HBO series, by all, signs, point to being a hit. They need more source material, right? Like,
Exactly, man.
I figure, I hope, my hope, and I don't know because I haven't seen it yet, though the reviews are all positive and raving about it, and not just the first episode. People have seen the whole season. It's not like, oh, they watched one episode, they watched the whole season. My hope is that the first game is 2 seasons, right? I don't know where the break would be. I mean, I haven't played the first game in a while, so I don't know what the logical break would be, but I would hope that much story you get about 2 seasons worth. I don't know. And I'm hoping the second game you get another 2 seasons, and then after that, then there's no more source material. From interviews, they were saying like they don't plan on dragging this out past anything that there isn't source material for. But at the same time, if you think about it, even if they do want to do a part 3, it's going to be a long time before that actually comes out, right?
Oh yeah.
You're talking like
I mean,
5,
it's gonna be
6
a
years.
long time. It's gonna be a long time for them to finish the first 2 games in terms of source material. If we're going by your outlook, that's like
Yeah.
4 seasons.
Yeah.
So that should give enough. Like I mean, 4 seasons. That's gonna be years. That should be enough time for like a Last of Us 3 to come out. I also definitely think that the TV show influenced his response. I think there's more story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. I think he knows that that this is gonna be a hit. You know what I mean? It's gonna get a whole bunch of people that aren't even into gaming into the IP. You know what I mean? And the IP is gonna be good. So that's all he's thinking right now. Is he's like, this is gonna be a multi-million-dollar IP right here. Moving forward for like a decade or more.
Yeah.
He's thinking I bet you. Yeah, I bet you he's already thinking spin-offs, Dennis. I'm telling you right now. He's got the whole universe planned out, the whole cinematic universe.
Well, it's interesting because you have The Walking Dead ending not the spin-offs, because they're actually making a ton of spin-offs and whatever. They got the Fear the Walking Dead, but the original OG series is is it ending or ended? I fell off of it many
I have
seasons
no idea.
ago. But anyways, it's either over or about to end. And the zombie thing, was big for a while, and it kind of got a little oversaturated. Even Walking Dead, a lot of people just kind of got, I don't know if sick of it was the right word, but a little fatigue, right?
Fatigue, yeah.
And now this one,
a lot of zombie fatigue for sure.
What's interesting about The Last of Us is it was very, even though clickers, their zombie versions played heavily into the game, much more in the first game than the second game, but it never was the main thing, right? It was always about the relationship between Joel and Ellie, and then also with outside people. And like I said,
it's more about the characters, more about the people. Yeah,
especially in the second game. First season, there was definitely a little more zombie clicker related stuff. But so I think it's going to be received very well. One, by the reviews saying it's great, and two, I think you have The Walking Dead kind of wrapping up, and this is at least a different take on the zombie genre.
Yeah.
So, and this is less of an ensemble cast and more of, it's a duo.
Also got a bigger fan base going into it. You know what I mean? Like there were a lot of people that were fans of the comics of The Walking Dead, I'm sure, but like not that many people knew about the comic books.
Yeah, it was a hit.
This has already got a huge fan base.
Yeah, The Walking Dead comic book was a hit on a comic book level, right?
Yeah.
You're probably talking like maybe hundreds of thousands of people, right? Fans, pre-existing fans, where this is millions of pre-existing fans. So
exactly, it's a huge bump up.
But yeah, so you got that whole potentially a part 3.
Oh,
who knows?
Definitely. I wouldn't say it's inevitable. I think
it may be a far way off.
You're gonna want to end it on a trilogy, it's just nicer that way.
True.
Video games are always that way. I don't know any video game where they've only ever made like 2 and then they've ended. Well, that's a loaded thing to say technically, because you can say any game could still always get a third sequel or whatever. You know what I mean? Because I was gonna say StarCraft 2, but I'm still holding thumbs for StarCraft 3, baby. One of these days we're gonna get StarCraft 3. Yeah.
Another question that he was asked about, he talked about Elden Ring, and that
I saw that.
He's very interested in how Elden Ring's story was very minimalistic, where a lot of it is looking at stuff and kind of trying to deciphering what the story is really, which is kind of the opposite of The Last of Us. I mean, The Last of Us is even more so than, let's say, these other games, right? I'm trying to think of like even more so than like any of these open world Assassin's Creed games or whatnot. Even Ghost of Tsushima is
very
more
cutscene heavy.
But like even Ghost of Tsushima is open world. You can go here or there, and there's definitely a story, but you got side missions. There's no side missions in The Last of Us. It's a straightforward, this is the story, you go this one way, right? Like, sure, there's like different ways to accomplish certain tasks, but in general, you're getting kind of pushed in one direction, in one way to play, right? It's much more focused on the story. So him being interested in that type of storytelling is, I don't know.
It's very different from his type of storytelling,
Yes.
Yeah.
Very different. So that was interesting. Season 1 reviews all been super positive. I think it's like a 90 something on Rotten Tomatoes. People have seen the whole season. Everyone says that if you were worried about Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey playing Joel and Ellie, don't be. They said they basically killed it. They're,
the fact that people have like seen the whole season already also leads me to believe that it's not going to be as long is what I would have wanted. Like I'm guessing what, like eight or 10 episodes
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, HBO tends
Yeah.
to do. I remember Game of Thrones was 10 episodes. What I did read about
Mm.
in a few, maybe a couple weeks ago, about how the and this part I don't get, how the budget for The Last of Us per episode was more than Game of Thrones seasons 1 through 5 or something like that, which kind of blows my mind because with Game of Thrones, the locations and the costumes and everything, the cast was much bigger. It just felt like there was a lot more to pay for.
True.
Where this is, it's a post-apocalyptic, zombie
Well,
apocalyptic story that
I guess
doesn't
it's more
have.
CGI. You know,
Yeah, but I mean,
Game of Thrones had a lot of just walking around in castles and the woods and stuff. You know.
but to be honest, at least from what I'm thinking of this game, is mostly going to be a lot of walking around talking to people. I mean,
Oh,
HBO is
true.
not
Yeah.
known for, and one of the reasons why I love their show so much is they're very character driven. They're very dialogue driven. They focus on that, and they're not focused on like big explosions and action and all that stuff, So I just don't see this series gonna be like it's not gonna be a zombie killing fest. That's basically what
Yeah.
I'm saying. I expect like maybe certain like episodes will have like these big like set pieces, right? Like I don't know if you watched Andor at all, but which
No,
was
not
awesome.
yet.
It's awesome, but there's basically only 3 episodes where a lot of action happens. The rest of them are all story, dialogue, character driven, and then there's 3 episodes that like, okay, this is something big happens, this something big happens, something big happens, right? So 3 out of the I think 12 episodes. So it's 9 episodes. I'm looking at it right now. So there are 9 episodes in season 1 of The
Okay.
Last of Us. So I'm just not expecting like a full on like
I
action.
don't.
Fest.
I also don't see them doing the whole game in 9 episodes. So I think you're right. It will be probably half the first game, most likely.
Yeah. And then also we saw in the trailer, we saw the shots of Ellie's flashback. The what was the spinoff called? Left Behind, or why am I blanking on the spinoff? The one with her
I forgot.
relationship with anyways, you see that in the trailer. So that's a whole separate thing from the game, right? That was like a 4-hour, 5-hour, maybe about a 4-hour DLC, story, So you're throwing that in there as well. I just can't see that's gonna be a whole episode in itself, right? So
True. Yeah.
yeah. So I just don't see how they're fitting that whole first season or the whole first game into one season.
I mean, but for the most part, though, like I've just seen good reviews everywhere. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I mean, what, just coming out in a few days from now?
Yep. It's this Sunday. So
Technically,
I wonder
yeah.
like how big of a hit do you think this can be, right? Like
Dude, I think it's going to
on
be
a
bigger
level-
than The Witcher. I
yes,
can tell you that.
that's for sure. That's for sure. But I'm
Yeah, it's gonna
talking
be
like
bigger than The Witcher.
if we want to talk Game of Thrones or Walking Dead level.
Oh,
Like,
I don't think it's going to hit Game of Thrones level.
okay.
Maybe
So
maybe
one
like
notch below. One notch below. Like what's
Yeah.
the level?
And I'd say Walking Dead, but like less seasons, Like I think it could get to like Walking Dead level of like hype.
I mean,
but not
Walking
for
Dead.
but not for as long. Like I don't think it'll prolong that hype as long as Walking Dead prolonged that hype for. I think this could be like a cultural phenomenon for like a year, Like Squid Game. Squid Game was everywhere, and now everybody's forgotten about it,
The thing with the Walking Dead versus Game of Thrones was a cultural phenomenon. It started off slow, and once it became a cultural phenomenon, it stayed that way, and still is today. The Walking Dead is less so, where it hit a big peak early on, maybe
Like,
around
build up as well, yeah.
between like season 2 to 4 or 5, and then it kind of fell off. So Walking Dead is like not really talked about as much. It's still obviously has an impact, but it's not quite what it used to be. And I'm just wondering like where The Last of Us will fit into that,
Yeah.
onto that. I'm trying to think of what's a possible equivalent to it. I think it's definitely going to be bigger. And this is a show I love, but I'm just thinking culturally, it's going to be bigger than something like The Boys. Trying to think of what else.
I mean, The Boys is pretty big, but the gore makes it a bit more niche.
Yes. Like it, if you really like it, like I like it, sure, you're gonna be really into it. Yeah, but the average person, right? Like, if you go out there, a lot of I don't want to say average, the mass audience, they know about Game of Thrones and probably watch Game of Thrones, right? You know, and even Walking Dead to that level. And The Boys is not that. It's very big amongst a certain amount of people. Right.
True.
So I'm trying to think of. It's going to be bigger than The Boys. I think. I mean, HBO hasn't. The last big HBO hit really was Game of Thrones, right? And now House of the Dragon, but that's just a Game of Thrones spin-off.
But it's going to be big. I don't think it's going to be Game of Thrones big, but it'll be big, like for sure. I think it's gonna have a huge amount of hype to it. It could also build with the seasons, like as it goes. You know what I mean? The hype could build as well. Yeah, I don't see it reaching Game of Thrones level, but I think you said it best. It's going to be like one notch just below that in terms of like cultural hype and whatnot.
All right, one last thing.
I see that there's a companion podcast coming up with it as well.
That's what I was going to mention, with Troy Baker, and he's going to be joined by Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin. So that's going to be cool to see the original Joel talk about the series. And I saw, I saw his posts on Instagram, Twitter, like he was at the premiere and, hanging out with all the guys there. So that was cool to see. All right, let's move on to Sony at CES.
Yes.
Sony had a big presence there, especially because they had actual hardware, consumer electronic show. It's like very hardware. CES used to be, back in the day before E3 was a thing. CES was where Nintendo and Sega used to show their shit. Nowadays, it's mainly for kind of thank you for electronics, for devices and whatnot. But there was some news coming out of there. They had their Project Leonardo, which was their accessibility controller kit for the PlayStation 5, which was nice to see. It
looks interesting. Yeah.
Because they were kind of lagging behind Microsoft, because Microsoft had a lot of accessibility controls and PlayStation.
They did, yeah. They also had a lot of open. I forget what the phrase is, but essentially, like open coding. There's a better word for it. I
source.
I forgot what it was.
Open source.
Open source. Open source. Open code. Whatever. Yeah. They had that. Microsoft has way more accessibility. So I was happy to see this as well. The controller looks interesting. I don't know how. It doesn't look very accessible in my opinion, but.
Yeah, because it's like a circle, right? The buttons are on a circle. Because you see, Microsoft's looks more like a drum pad. If you ever seen an electronic drum pad.
Yeah.
And this is more of a circle, so it's gonna be interesting to see. But I'm glad that they are having this come out. So
I'm glad they're making moves towards that direction, which is good,
Yeah, speaking of PlayStation 5, they have surpassed 30 million units sold, and basically they've said the shortage is over. Like, if you want a PS5, you can find one. It's not going to be as hard anymore.
It had that price hike though, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why there's no longer a shortage, because they're like, hey, you're going to pay more. Now we can get chips because you're paying more. Who knows?
Yeah, I forgot. I think this might have happened. I don't know if we talked about it, and maybe we forgot to put it in the news. But like a few weeks ago, they actually came out with some numbers, and Xbox in this new generation, actually isn't that far behind domestically in America. I forgot the number was, but it was like, I want to say like they were only a few million behind. If you added Xbox Series S and X together versus PS5, there were only a few million units behind. It's globally, is where Sony is doing much better. That's kind of where the gap of units sold, because Xbox doesn't do crap in Japan, in some other regions.
What's this Gran Turismo movie sneak peek? What is this, like an actual movie
Yes,
or like
it's a movie come out in August.
Movie?
No, it's a movie.
I see David Harbour, Orlando Bloom.
Yeah,
I missed this. I didn't see this.
Yeah, there's a little teaser trailer they showed. It's weird because it's like I don't know.
It's got all the gaming logos on the racing car. Fucking PlayStation, Asus.
Yeah.
I love it. That's hilarious.
They're shooting it like it's a game. Like, have you seen this? Like, if you look at the footage,
the third person footage.
They're
kind of
shooting
thing.
it very much like the game itself.
That looks really cool, actually. Yeah.
So
that looks kind of cool. I'm excited to check. That came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting a Gran Turismo movie.
It's funny. I mentioned many times on the podcast that I don't really play racing games. I mean, Horizon Forza, or was it Forza Horizon?
Forza Horizon
was a big surprise, and I actually really like that. But in general, I don't play racing games. But for some reason, I like watching racing movies. They always make it interesting.
Talk about an easy video game adaptation, man.
Yeah,
don't have to worry about like dragons or spells or it's just cars, man. Nice and easy.
Yeah. And then people got hands on with the PSVR 2.
It does look really good, I'll be honest.
Yeah, people are saying it's pretty awesome. The only thing they don't like is that, well, besides the price, is the cord.
You're still tethered. It's unfortunate they couldn't do something like Airlink, because Airlink works. I don't notice any latency when I stream VR games from my PC.
It's very minimal.
I mean, if you have it running on 5G as well, then there's no latency. The thing that I'm surprised most by is Beat Saber coming to PSVR 2, because it's owned by Meta.
Yeah, that was interesting.
I guess they want that bread. They want that bread.
It's probably, honestly, to do the fact that they've spent so much money on VR and they're not getting their returns. So they're like, we need to make money, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. They got to get that bread. They're like, yeah, what's that? You guys want to be able to buy Beat Saber on the new headset? Go for it. We'll take some of that money.
Remember, they had bought the company that made Beat Saber.
They own Beat Saber, yeah.
Just so that they could make it exclusive to their platform.
Man, I will say Beat Saber is so much better on PC, or having the Steam version of Beat Saber, because then you can just mod the crap out of it. The community is so much bigger. The modding community, all the songs you can have. Like, you're very limited in terms of music because of licensing rights and stuff on Beat Saber,
Yeah. And a lot of people are pointing to playing the Horizon Call of the Mountain game is a highlight, which is great because it is the exclusive game. You're not going to be able to play that on any other platform. The only problem is you've got to make more of those, right? That was like right now there's a whole
God of War one, man.
Yeah,
like that'd be cool. Like, let me fucking take my little boat and go paddling through God of War. Yeah. I want to go take me through the 9 realms.
Well, that's the whole debate right now about VR in the VR world, is that since Half-Life Alyx, there's been some pretty cool games, but there hasn't been a game like it or even close to that level. And so you're not getting... The thing is, people are saying that it's not a hardware issue, right? Even though, yes, the hardware can be improved. We can get better graphics, better battery life, whatever, right? Better resolution. That the problem is there's not these system sellers, right? Like, I told you that I bought a whole new graphics card just to play
Half-Life Alyx.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which ended up me buying a whole new battery supply, because I bought the card and I tried to put it in and I was like, my computer's power supply doesn't work.
Bigger PSU, everything, yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta be careful, man.
So the amount that I spent just to play Half-Life Alyx was a lot, but honestly, I thought, okay, here we go. This is, we're going to start seeing all these big AAA titles, and that's just not what happened. Like I said, we've got some pretty cool games. We got After the Fall, Red Matter, we got Zenith. So there's been some cool games.
Man, Zenith, I tried Zenith again the other day. I've actually been playing more VR lately.
Mm-hmm.
I still just keep going back to Super Hot and Beat Saber.
What about
like
After the Fall? Have you played After the Fall?
I did, but like arcade games are the things that I keep going back to. Like I keep trying out new games, and maybe it's just me for the motion sickness or something. But like arcade games, the games where you like stand still for the most part, they're just easier for me to get into. Also, like less straining on my eyes because Beat Saber and Super Hot's like low poly kind of stuff, and it's all arcadey stuff. It doesn't it doesn't look too real. Or if that makes sense. Like VR for me, it seems to work better when it feels like I'm in a digital space. Like it doesn't. I don't want it to feel like I don't want to be in VR and be like, wow, look at how cool the grass looks. I want to be like, no, I want to be on the grid in Tron. That's where I want to be.
I'm the opposite of you. I want to feel like I'm like really, really there. But anyways, more VR news is like HTC announces their standalone VR headset because. I don't know if it was last year or 2 years before they had released headsets and they just were really not well received.
They were falling behind, dude. Yeah, they were falling behind
they
hard.
weren't very well received. They were just like better versions of their other ones. But now people are actually hyped about this one. It is an expensive one, but the HTC Vive XR Elite, it's $1,099. Very expensive, but it is on a high-end level. Type of headset you're talking about.
I was gonna say it also looks a bit like the Quest Pro. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Looks a little similar vibe in terms of the way it looks.
Yes, it definitely has a Quest Pro
but a better
vibe.
Price point, of course. Much better price point.
A better price point, and it seems better. To be honest, it looks better engineered. I'm not playing this, but I'm just going off of what it looks like and what people are saying. Online that is just
I like the goggles like the binocular flaps, you know what I mean? Those look quite nice to like lock it in because I hate the nose flap. I need to get like a nose guard or something because that light that comes in through the nose hole that always bothers me with VR.
And so you can plug in USB-C like to your PC to play games, but then you can also do the AirLink type of thing.
Okay. Ooh,
As
I like the case. The case is really cool. It's got like a cylindrical carry case. I don't know if you saw that. That looks really cool. I like that.
Yeah, you can kind of like I think fold in the thing and.
So I'm guessing that thing on the back is an extra battery pack or whatever. So
yes, it is. It gives it extra battery.
110-degree field of view. That's pretty good. Compare that to the PSVR 2. PSVR 2's field of view. What is that? PSVR.
We're definitely gonna get a new Quest this year. The Quest 2 came out.
Oh, it's also 110 degrees.
Yeah, a year and a half ago. The only issue with this HTC one is they don't have any exclusive games. This is strictly.
That is unfortunate. Yeah.
It's strictly games that already pretty much are existing. So. But it is more of a high-end experience.
This is very, very off topic, but also kind of on topic. There is a little island. I don't know if you heard about this. I forget the name of the island, but they're now going to be the world's first ever digital country or digital island because they're going to be completely submerged in a few years from now because of global warming. So in an attempt to keep their culture and their country alive, they're going full metaverse. Like they're making.
Wow.
I think they spent a lot of money recreating their entire island and their entire country, so that it can still be experienced years later in VR. So they're moving towards becoming like a digital country / digital culture because they're not going to have land.
Makes sense. I mean, because one of the benefits of VR is you can go into the worlds of the past, right? Like if you want to see ancient Rome,
exactly, yeah.
And so this is kind of almost like a preemptive.
It's almost like
history, right? They're trying to
cataloging history, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
what's the word? Archives. It's almost
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're making like virtual reality
I
archives.
think that's
It's also
smart.
just it is smart, but it's also just scary to think
It
about
is
that,
scary
man.
too.
Because obviously these people are losing their island to global warming. You know,
Yeah.
I mean even like Fiji. Fiji's like half the size. A lot of those small islands got screwed. But interesting to move towards like a fully digital island kind of thing. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah. It
Like
is
one way to
sad,
keep
but
the
at least
culture
yeah,
alive. You know,
yeah.
one way to keep it
Um.
alive.
All right. The next big news is Ubisoft cancels 3 unannounced games, and they delay Skull and Bones for the 6th time.
Again, dude.
Yes.
Dude, that's fucking hilarious. Here's the thing, I'm gonna play Skull and Bones when it comes out because it's obviously based on Assassin's Creed 4 Black
Yes.
Flag, which to this day I still play that game every now and then because the naval combat was so incredibly good. It's superior to any other like naval combat games I've played before, and it's a freaking Assassin's Creed game. It's got, it's not supposed
Yeah,
to be
I
about that,
remember.
but
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember playing. I didn't finish it, but I remember playing Black Flag, and that was super
Yeah.
fun.
So Skull and Bones is supposed to essentially be like the spiritual successor of that mechanic,
Yeah.
and it's been delayed so many times, and I like that it's hilarious. I don't know if it'll ever come out. I'm still gonna play it because I know, like,
I'll
unless they
wait for
butchered
reviews. I'm
unless
gonna
they
wait for.
butchered the combat mechanics, I think the combat mechanics are gonna be really good. I
Mhm.
think they keep delaying it because they're probably trying to do more. Like instead of giving you just a big ocean multiplayer experience, which can feel very empty and like
Mhm.
they're probably trying to fill the world with so much shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, delay. It's unannounced. 3 unannounced games got canceled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Ubisoft, man.
Yeah, their financial reports aren't very good. I like there was like basically the I forgot who it was. It was the CEO or the president or whatever had sent out an email, a softer version of Elon Musk's emails. I don't know if you remember when Elon Musk took over Twitter, he sent out like, "You guys must be hardcore. If you want to be part of Twitter, you got to be hardcore." Like he released a softer version of that. It was like basically like, we got to like buckle down and we got to it was a softer version, but essentially like saying, "Hey, mofos, you could, like your job is at stake if we're not,
I love this though because they're like, what's it? They say there was 2 games that underperformed: Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope and
mm,
Just Dance 2023. Like, who's still playing Just Dance in 2023? You know what I mean? As much as I'd love to see the youth get physical and active, I just don't see them doing that, man. They'll dance for TikTok, not for a video game,
yep."
you know? And then Mario and Rabbids, I just
I
it's
heard
so
good
average. It's
reviews
like
about it, but
it's basically
it's not
XCOM.
my type. Yeah, it's not my type of
It,
game.
yeah, it's basically XCOM. It's not my type of game either. Um, yeah.
All right, moving
Damn.
on. Dead
Ubisoft taking
Space.
L's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ubisoft's
I
in
saw
trouble.
this.
Dead Space remake has an official launch. It looks great. I played the original, but I never finished it. But this looks very, very good.
I could be wrong. I think I read this somewhere where if you get Dead Space the remake, you get Dead Space 2. I think they give you a copy of Dead Space 2 with it or something. Obviously
Interesting.
not like there's no Dead Space 2 remake, but they give
Yeah,
you.
the
I could be
original
wrong about
Dead
that.
Space.
Yeah, I think I saw
didn't
that somewhere where. Yeah.
I didn't see anything about it, but this launch or the remake's coming out on January 27th,
That's soon,
2023, very, very soon. And, a lot of people were disappointed with Callisto Protocol, so this
There
may.
were performance issues. I think the game itself, from what I was, from friends who have played it, they say the game's pretty good. It just had severe performance issues on like day one. You know.
I heard it just wasn't as good as they were expecting, like the
Yeah.
gameplay wise. It was very, very vanilla, basically. Like it wasn't like a
I think.
bad
I
game,
mean,
they said,
yeah.
but just very vanilla.
I think the Dead Space remake's gonna do much better.
Oh, this looks great.
But I really hope that they remake Dead Space 2 as well because that's when they went co-op and that's when it became really fun. It's nice shitting your pants, but it's nice shitting your pants with your friend.
Yeah.
You're both just screaming in your microphones. And you're both running
Yeah.
away.
Well,
Like that's fun.
hopefully this does well and they remake the
Yeah.
second one.
True, true,
Um,
true.
this one is just news about more news, which is
Mm-hmm.
Xbox and Bethesda are going to have an event at the later this month on January 25th, and they're going to share new details about Redfall, Forza Motorsport, and more.
Mm-hmm.
And when they released that, people got like a little nervous and kind of upset because there was no mention of Starfield in this one. But apparently they're making a separate standalone Starfield show. And so that's why
I was
they're
gonna
not
say, no, knowing Bethesda, like, yeah, well, the way they've been like handling Starfield as its own little thing with those little podcasts and stuff as well, I could see them wanting to do their own event for it. You know?
And these are rumors, so who knows if they're true or not, but people have been reporting as well that the people playtesting it have said it's awesome.
Okay.
Take that with a grain of salt. One, I don't know if it's true, and two, maybe the sample size is very small, but supposedly Starfield is amazing, you know.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. And I hope that delay
yeah.
I hope that delay helped that.
I'm looking forward to seeing more Redfall.
Yeah.
Yeah, January 25th, not too far away. So I'm looking forward to seeing more Redfall.
Yeah. The
I
last thing
think
I
that's-
have is just this is just me because I'm a fan of Sam Barlow, who makes Immortality. He made Her Story. I still haven't finished what was that, Telling Lies, but anyways, he kind of is, because all the games that he's been making, the last three games he made,
real life people and
they're all
stuff.
FMV, full motion video.
Yeah.
And so he says he's thinking about going back to 3D gaming again. So
Yeah. Or like more like traditional gaming.
tradition, yeah. So interesting. I don't know, because he's kind of known for that.
I feel like he'd still make the same type of games, but just using 3D models instead of people.
Yeah,
Probably that's probably what it's gonna be.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted on this because he's doing something different right now with his full motion video games.
Mental Metroidvania.
Yeah,
Mental Metroidvania. That's interesting.
yeah. So I'm interested in what he does next. Hopefully, it's something different, even if he does go back to 3D gaming. Hopefully, it's a different kind of 3D gaming, just to have like something different, right? Because apparently he worked on like whatchamacallit? Let me look at Silent Hill, Serious Sam, and Legacy of Kain. So
Legacy of
interesting.
Kain, man. The fans have been asking for a remake for a while.
Yeah.
That might happen. All right, so I don't have much like big news to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Just a couple small things that got announced. Like Simon Pegg, who I love, is going to be the headmaster in Hogwarts Legacy, and I think that's freaking perfect. That's perfect casting. Simon Pegg, put him in the Hogwarts universe. I love that.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about that. He just kind of got announced, and they did like an official.
And that's
trailer
coming
with
out
him.
next month, so it's not too far off.
Yeah, I think the 20th of February, I think. So the Final Fantasy 16 producer denies the existence of a PC version, and he's just basically telling everyone who asks about the PC version to just buy a PS5. So I might have to actually buy a PS5 unless I'm willing to wait like probably a year or two for it to come to PC. It will eventually come to. I don't know why he's like trying to deny the existence of the game. It's going to be there eventually. It's going to be on PC eventually. Every Final Fantasy game that's come out, like, well, even actually most of them have eventually gotten a PC port. You know what I mean? They all eventually get a PC port. But that breaks my heart because I was hoping that it'd be on PC sooner than later. So I might just have to hunker down and buy a PS5. This might be the game that actually gets me to buy a PS5. Not God of War Ragnarok, not Horizon Forbidden West, but Final Fantasy 16, because it's looking really good. And I haven't missed a Final Fantasy game before, Dennis.
So it's not gonna be on. It's not gonna be on PS4. The whole thing with God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West is
I don't think it's gonna be on PS4.
Yeah, they were available on PS4.
I think it's next gen. I think it's next gen only. I could be wrong about that, but I think it's next gen only. Yeah, he's literally saying here like there's like There's not going to be a PC version 6 months later. He's like, why does everyone assume there's going to be a PC version 6 months later? He's like, there's not. Just buy a PS5. Yeah, and I don't think it is getting a PS4 version. I think it's next gen only. So that kind of sucks. But hey, maybe if you know what, I I gotta choose, Dennis. Do I save up for an immigration attorney and get back to America, or do I get a PS5 and play Final Fantasy 16? Got
Immigration
tough
attorney.
choices, man. Yeah,
Immigration attorney.
immigration attorneys are expensive, man. They're
Yeah.
like fucking like 10 grand to get a good one. All right, Borderlands movie. It's getting reshoots from Deadpool's Tim Miller, which
Mhm.
is that's good news in my opinion. I think Tim Miller can only bring good to the Borderlands movie.
I like his
Um,
movies. I liked obviously the first Deadpool, but then
Eli Roth or Tim Miller? Tim Miller.
Tim Miller.
Yeah, I like his movies too.
And then I like Dark Fate. I know a lot of people crapped on it, but I thought he did a good job with Terminator Dark Fate.
So
So
yeah, he's doing the reshoots. So
yeah.
that can only be a good thing. They got somebody really decent to do the reshoots, so I'm excited about that. Also, for them to be doing reshoots means that we might be getting the movie sooner than later, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last bit of news I have, and this is a really big thing. We're not really going to get too into it because it's pretty complicated. And it's more about tabletop gaming than the gaming that we usually talk about on this channel. It's about Dungeons and Dragons, and more importantly, it's about Wizards of the Coast, the people who own Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And I could be talking about this wrong, but essentially they're implementing a more restricted open gaming license agreement. They kind of just want their hands in like more of the money and like the spin-offs that come from D&D, because they own D&D, but a lot of people make money from playing D&D on YouTube or on Twitch and then making their own campaigns, selling their campaigns. And essentially Wizards of the Coast want to have a hand in that. And the community is rightfully so upset, you know what I mean? A lot of people are like kind of having their livelihood like threatened upon or whatever for the most part. So interesting to see where this is going to go. There's a lot more to it. Like I could be getting into it. Like the new agreement would introduce like a 20 to 25% royalty fee. So you'd have to like give 25% of the money you make from D&D towards them. Like there's it's interesting, but it's only if you're making more than $750,000 a year using like, so for instance, Critical Role will be affected, or anybody else who does D&D like exclusively on YouTube or Twitch or wherever. And if they're making about more than 750,000 a year, then they're gonna have to be paying a licensing right or something, or a royalty fee license. So that's kind of big news. I'm interested to see where that goes. It's funny to see them pull this out and fumble this because of the backlash towards the Magic the Gathering incident earlier this year. But it also makes sense because I think there are people out there that are probably making more money than there are people out there playing D&D on YouTube probably making more money than Wizards of the Coast, you know? Like it's most likely that's the case. So I understand they need to get some of their money, you know? I think it's fair, but not like 25% is crazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, if people are making more than like $1 million a year off of it, then I can see you charging them a 10 or 15% like fee. You know what I mean? Because you got to make your money too. You know, what if one day they just stop making D&D? Huh? Then what are those people gonna do?
So they were supposed to make an announcement on the live stream yesterday, I believe, but it got canceled because people were pissed off. Apparently, like they're canceling, or fans are canceling subscriptions to the game's online tools.
Yeah,
as kind of as a revolt or whatever. So,
which, by the way, those are really good tools. Bad time for me to be throwing them out there now if anybody ever wants to use them, but they are really good online tools.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay.
I should probably hit the hay soon. I gotta be up early.
Cool. I guess one last thing is, what are you playing? And like for me, like I've been playing High on Life. I think I'm getting close to the end. I think I'm on Out of all the how many bounties are there? Like 9, I think, total
I
or
think there's
something like
6.
that.
I think it's 6 or 9. I could be
6?
wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember the amount. Or maybe it's like 7. I think I'm on like
Yeah.
bounty 6 or something like that. So there's like
I'm on my 4th or 5th bounty at the moment. I'm still taking my
yeah.
time with the game, having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I restarted it at one point because I was playing it with
Oh.
a friend, and then I just decided to restart it on my own. I was having fun with that.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what else.
I've been playing a lot of RTS games lately, like a lot of Warcraft 3,
really?
a lot of StarCraft 2, a lot of Age of Empires. I don't know. I've been on an RTS bug lately.
I'm just trying to. I mean, I'll be honest. I've been spending a lot of time. I told you I shot that music video. I'm like almost done with it. I'm like practically. Yeah, I'm like putting on the final touches for it. So that's going to hopefully free up some time to play games.
Yeah.
Because yeah, every time, usually when I have like free time, I'll be like, okay, I'll go play a game for like an hour or 2 or something. But instead, I'll be like, all right, I got to work on this.
Usually around this time of the year, I actually don't play much games. Like like even though I just said I've been playing a lot of RTS games, I haven't been playing much in terms of time. Like January, February, I get very work focused. You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't even think about video games. I just think about work. And then eventually, after like 2 months of that, I get burnout, and then all I can think about are video games for like a month straight. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's like a weird cycle.
Here in LA, it's a little like, I wouldn't say dead time, but just like it's not quite as busy. You know how it is in LA. Like December, after Thanksgiving till probably the end of this month is pretty not dead, but like calm. It's calm and quiet.
Yeah.
So I think things will start picking up towards the end of the month. So I think for me, it's time to play.
Well, I got to get out of here.
Cool.
Yeah.
So everyone, thank you for watching or listening. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Revog. You can follow me on Twitter @ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Subscribe to this YouTube, or not the YouTube channel. I already said that. The podcast on Anchor.fm and Spotify. And Josh, where can people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitch at It's Thespis, all lowercase. Should be a link in the description below. Once I get to 100 followers, I will be streaming daily again.
Cool. All right. Until next time, see you guys later.
Later.